And now let me introduce our speaker. Kathy Hughes, DTM, is Founders District Club Growth Director with the dream job this year of supporting and building up membership in all clubs. Oh, my screen disappeared. Building up membership in all clubs, both new and existing. Kathy joined Toastmasters in October 2011 and has served in many club and district leadership roles along the way. Please welcome Kathy Hughes.
Thank you, Christine, for that wonderful introduction. Welcome everyone to the Club Coaches, Sponsors, and Mentors training session. I know several of you out there are anxious to learn how to be a coach, a sponsor, or a mentor, or perhaps you already are. The Club Growth team is together on this presentation. I'm Kathy Hughes. We have Brenda Scher. Hello, Brenda.
Hello, everybody.
Sherry Horowitz is here.
Happy to be here, Kathy.
John Hardowitz. Hi, John. Shiva Batcher. Oh, there's John. Okay.
Hi,
Shiva Batcher. Paul Fay sends his apologies. He will be in the next version of this presentation. And Aaron Darling is here. Hi, Aaron.
Hello, everybody.
We've got lots of bang for the buck in this presentation. Club Coaches is the first section that we'll be presenting. That's going to be brought to you by Kathy, Brenda, and John. And we'll talk about our agenda, the Club Coach program. Who is a club coach? What's their traits, personality, and what do they even do? And then we'll have a great audience participation section for club coaches about the troubleshooting guide. And that is something that John, well, no, John, you don't need to drop it in the chat, but Stefan will put some attachments for you in the chat, as well as some links. The next section of our meeting will be devoted to club sponsors and club mentors. And today that's brought to you by Sherry, Aaron, Kathy, and Shiva. And we'll talk about things like why chartering new clubs is important. And Brenda, actually, why chartering new clubs is important, benefits for sponsors and mentors, what types of clubs that we will be trying to build in the district. Club sponsors and club mentors have duties that we need to explain to you. And then there will be resources frequently put in the chat for you and a Q&A session at the end.
All right, so from the official Pathways Frequently Asked Questions, number 26. Yes, you can still earn the DTM award in Pathways, and it still represents the highest level of educational achievement in Toastmasters. The new requirements for the DTM award are complete 2 unique learning paths, serve as a club officer for 12 months, serve as a club mentor or a club coach, serve as a club sponsor or conduct a speechcraft or youth leadership program, serve as a district officer for 1 year, complete the DTM project. Back to you, Kathy and Brenda.
Okay. I'm sure you're wondering, how do we identify the clubs that are eligible or that need a club coach? As you can see from this slide, we're focusing on the clubs that are in the red. That means those clubs that have less than 13 members, so 12 members or less. And what we're looking to do as a club coach is turn those red clubs into a yellow and ideally into that green healthy club.
And after we've identified those clubs, we need to go determine what in the club coach program is going to help us be successful there. A club is eligible to have a club coach if they have 1 to 12 members. Once they hit 13, they're not eligible for a club coach. The process requires a handshaking agreement between the club and the potential They must both agree that they will be coached and coachable. The appointment form is generated by the club growth director, and that's me. And once you are appointed as a club coach, you'll have support from the club growth team in the form of the club coach troubleshooting guide. You'll get to know that in detail. Club coach training, as in the training that we're having today, as well as roundtables that we'll do throughout the year to support club coaches during their club coach appointment. An area director needs to be in sync with the club and with the club coach. So that three-part team there, and that's a support system.
Okay. Are you wondering, are you eligible to be a club coach? If you're here, odds are you are. You are experienced and knowledgeable Toastmaster. You are working the Pathways program because you're going to be able to share and support others and help groom and that club that needs your assistance with the Pathways program. This is one of the most important ones. You cannot currently be a member of the club when you are appointed as a club coach. Now, that doesn't mean you can't join that club later on. And did you know you don't have to do it alone? Up to 2 coaches can be appointed for each struggling club.
That is so great to hear, because the club coach program is valid for 2 program years. And I want to make sure that all of you potential coaches out there know that if the first program year that you are appointed, if you do not reach a successful distinguished club by the end of June of that year, you can be reappointed for another year. And that allows you 2 program years to complete being a distinguished club. Definition of club. Just let's be clear, it is not someone who's a single-handed savior of the club. No, that's not what we want coaches to do. We want them to help give the tools and resources for the club to be able to save themselves.
The criteria to be a successful club coach. Most importantly, you're going to add 5 or more members to the club's base membership. You're going to help them achieve 5 or more distinguished club program DCP goals. Hopefully you'll get them to president's distinguished. And you're going to achieve these, as Kathy just mentioned a second ago, by either the end of this year, which is June 30th, or next year. And if you do all 3 of these, you can wave that virtual trophy in the air, because you can feel good that you have turned around a club that was struggling, and you helped make that happen.
Oh, that's great to know all of that criteria to be a successful coach. But you might ask, with all of the work that you're doing as a club coach, what's in it for me? Well, you will derive a great deal of personal growth and leadership experience. Personal growth in the area of Toastmasters and beyond Toastmasters, in your personal life, in your business life. There's transferable skills to be gained. And the same goes with the leadership that directly benefits you outside of Toastmasters.
Who is a club coach, club sponsor, or a club mentor? Did you know you wear many, many hats? Below on this slide are some examples. First, you're a cheerleader. You bring enthusiasm and you unite the club members and the club, and you support them as a team member. You're objective. Sometimes the club can't see the areas they are struggling in. And so you bring that objectivity to the struggling club. You're able. You come in with knowledge and experience, and you are going to help them become a more dynamic and successful club and hold successful club meetings. You're confident. Now, I didn't say cocky. I mean confident. You're bringing in optimism and confidence to the club environment. And lastly, you are helpful at all levels. You're willing to dig deep. You're willing to take on roles. You're willing to bring in resource and really help troubleshoot them so that they can turn around into a successful club.
There is a lot to do as a club coach, and things like attending club meetings regularly are really important. Helping members that need to really examine their club with some new insight, what things are going wrong with the club and what do they need to fix. You want to help them use the club success plan, and very often you're going to make use of the club coach troubleshooting guide as you're going through this process with the club. There's so many things to do here that it seems daunting, but there are great rewards to be had celebrating with the club as well.
This leads us to our activity today, the Club Coaching Troubleshooting Guide. And this is one of my favorite slides, because what you're going to see from this slide are some examples of things that clubs have experienced. The first, ego, ergo, they go. I'm hoping none of you in the room have a club like this, where there's one personality that seems to take over the club, and therefore all of a sudden the other club members go. There's the long decline where they start out with healthy 22 members and then slowly go down to 10 members. The series of small jolts. For instance, the pandemic is a big jolt that changed and really impacted clubs. Location, location, location. When we get back, and we will get back at some point in the future, face-to-face, location is critical. I'm sad to say there still are some holdouts that are pathways naysayers, and we're going to turn them around. And then lastly, sometimes bad things happen, not to just good clubs, but to great clubs. And we're going to remind them that they're a great club.
Thank you, Brenda, for that. That's important. Here's a little look of the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, which Stefan has into. And there are several things about this Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide that I want to point out to you. On the left side of this form, you will see the positive traits, and on the right side, you will see the negative traits. And underneath each item, there are 19 items on the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, there is a 1 through 5 ranking, and a club coach will circle which of the ranking numbers that they think that club is doing for that trait. And the corrective action to get the clubs that have low numbers on the rankings is offered there in the troubleshooting guide. You will take the troubleshooting guide that's been posted in the chat, or you may have downloaded it through the Google Drive link, and try to answer these activities that are struggling club scenarios using the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide. Now, let me just tell you, on this form, I put the first 3 items from the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide. And if I were looking at this one, I would say item number 1, item number 2, that club's not doing so bad. Item number 3, however, I see a correctable action is definitely needed soon for this trait, where it has to do with member attitude. And if you have a 2 ranking, that means your members have a negative attitude about Toastmasters and their clubs. So if that's your club's problem, your corrective action should be help inject enjoyment into the meetings, make it more fun. Are you ready for an activity? I have the first question I'm going to display here for you, and I want to tell you that you can have all of these items listed out, all of these 4 pages, so you can get an advanced look at these if you want to be prepared to answer one of these questions. Everybody is on mute, so please use your reaction button to raise a hand in the chat, raise a hand so that I can see who will volunteer for this. You'll have an opportunity to give a 1 to 2 minute response. So scenario number 1 of struggling club scenarios for really cunningly crafty club coaches is you have been appointed as a club coach for this fictitious struggling club, Seat of Our Pants Toastmasters Club. Over the years, they declined in membership to just 12 members. After you attended their meeting, you were most concerned with the fact that members weren't coming prepared for their roles. Speakers showed up to give speeches that they hadn't even practiced for. So your task as a prospective incoming club coach, using the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, what corrective actions will you recommend to the club? And this will be timed at a 1 to 2 minute response. I don't see any raised hands, so perhaps someone who can see the raised hands can let me know. Let's see.
Kathy, if you pull up your participant list and if there's a raised hand, you'll see it. There's one, John Hardowitz has his hand up.
Yeah.
All right. John, you can come off mute.
Okay, so I was looking at the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, and about the 8th one down says, participants usually are unprepared. Speakers and evaluators are never contacted in advance. The corrective action is find role models to aid you in demonstrating the benefits of preparation for each meeting function. Urge members to phone speakers and evaluators in advance. There, I got more. Let's
All
see.
right. Well, that sounds good. I think you did a very good job at finding that item, that particular symptom on the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide. So thank you for that. Our next scenario is another struggling club called Lifeboat for Sale Toastmasters. And this club has only 9 members. After you attended their executive council meeting, you learned that the club officers are seriously thinking of just giving up. Only 1 or 2 officers even try to keep the club afloat. This fictitious club, Lifeboat for Sale, your task will be to use the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide and determine what corrective actions will be recommended to the club.
Assad has volunteered.
Great.
Kathy.
Thank you, Brenda, for watching that for me. I can't see it while my screen share is up. Assad, thank you for volunteering.
No problem. Thank you.
Good to see you.
So looking with the troubleshooting guide, the point I find is that the officers don't understand what they are expected to accomplish. And the corrective action is ensure that all club officers receive thorough training and have a copy of the club leadership handbook, demonstrate your ability to answer questions and help them solve their problems.
That's an excellent answer. And I think that is the one that I picked as well. I think there's a couple that might apply. In some cases, you find more than one thing on the handout, but it's great. Thank you, Assad.
You're welcome.
Moving on to scenario number 3. You've been appointed as club coach for the fictitious struggling club, My Way or the Highway Toastmasters Club. In just 2 years, they declined from 20 members to just 11. But after you attended their first meeting, which happened to include officer elections, you were a bit shocked to hear the club president announce there wouldn't be an election for club president because he was going to remain in office for another 12-month term. Members seemed frustrated by his controlling personality. So your task as the club, using the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, what corrective actions will you recommend to the club? Brenda, does anyone have a raised hand?
Not yet, but I will keep my ears and eyes posted. And if not, I will volunteer.
All right. Why don't you go ahead with this, Brenda?
You know, I think the way to approach this is to have an officer meeting, an executive council meeting, and let that club president know that the way for the club to grow is to have equal opportunity for everybody to share and grow and learn by taking on different officer roles. Also let them know that you're not pushing them aside because they're still a valuable member of the executive team. They are the immediate past president and their input is still going to be valued, but that in order to keep that club healthy, everybody needs to grow and everybody needs to share in the responsibility.
That is excellent. We've got one more to go here. You've been appointed as club coach for a struggling club with only 10 members. After attending their club meeting, you were disappointed to see the speech evaluations were all praise and no suggestions for future improvements. You wondered if that was why the club members were unsatisfied with the educational program. This fictitious club is named People Pleasers Toastmasters. So your task, volunteers, using the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, what corrective actions will you recommend to the club? Does anyone want this one?
Wait, we're still waiting on a great volunteer. This is a wonderful one.
Annetta has her hand up.
Okay, Annetta.
Great.
This is my stab at it. I think I see something, but I was going to say, establish if it isn't already the Pathways mentoring or a mentor program within the club. If there is one already, check and see where the mentors are. Are they all engaged in Pathways? Because some may have a mindset that I've been doing this a while type of thing, just to see how healthy the mentoring program is. Make suggestions, provide training if needed, or direct them to where they can get that. And also, I think on here, be a role model in demonstrating. Oh, that's for speeches. I'm sorry. So I don't see one on.
I'll give you a hint. The one that I picked for this was the last item on the first page. And I think you covered some of it.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was reading above. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's the last scenario. And unfortunately, I just saw another couple of hands raised, but save your questions. We'll have time in the Q&A session. But I really need to conclude our Club Coach program training session and move on to the next half of our program, which is the club sponsors and mentors. So I will turn it over to our club quality, no, not club quality chair, but the club mentor committee member. And that is Shiva. Shiva?
Thank you, Kathy. What an informative presentation so far. So this is the second half of the session. We're covering club sponsorship and mentors. So our agenda will be covering why chartering is important, the benefits of being a sponsor or mentor, types of clubs, and then also duties for mentors and sponsors. And at the end of the presentation, or as we go, our tech master will be dropping resources in the chat box. So those are the resources that's mentioned there. Why chartering new clubs is important? Well, we all can agree that we all have benefited from being in Toastmasters. So we want to pass that on to others so they can experience that same benefit. And we can do that by being club sponsors and mentors. And we want to encourage leadership opportunities. So clubs that need help can rebound and grow as a club. So there's a lot of leadership opportunities there. And we also want to provide a diverse clubs cultures in regards to appealing a wide variety of audiences. So there might be a club members who want to be in a community club where they all have dinner together. Well, there's a La Gourmet for that. There might be members who are interested in a wine group, or a formal meeting where it's a business type of setting. So there's a lot of opportunities, and having different type of club cultures enables a wide variety of audiences to join. And lastly, we want to ensure to offset declining clubs. We've had, yes, now back to Kathy.
Sorry, I advanced that slide a little prematurely, but I would love to talk to you about the benefits for sponsors and mentors, including the soft skills that you develop during your role as a sponsor or a mentor, and even a coach. Also, you can develop and share that expertise that you have learned over the course of your Toastmasters membership, obtain fresh perspectives from the club that you're coaching and learning how to save a club. The teamwork skills are very important, as well as you will benefit because you have an increased amount of speech opportunities. Think how fast you'll go through your Pathways program. You learn leadership skills, and these are transferable skills that just really continue to help you in your life. Demonstrate your value as a team leader, as a club sponsor or a club mentor. Develop project management skill set, your level of expertise in marketing. These skills. So other benefits for sponsors and mentors are you learn best in moments of enjoyment. We learned that from Ralph Smedley. So enjoy uplifting experience, create the fun of the accomplishments that you have. Lastly, Toastmasters specific benefits are there for sponsors and mentors. Of course, you all know that you receive credit toward the Pathways DTM requirement, but you're also investing in the future of Toastmasters.
Kathy, will you please put all of the bullets up for me? Thank you. So as a sponsor, these steps are your body of work. Your efforts to organize, to follow up, to lead, to recruit are fulfilling. They're fulfilling for you. They're meant for somebody else, but you get to meet new people. And by default, you actually build heartfelt relationships. Becoming a charter member, this becomes pride of ownership. Overall, there's an excitement of seeing others thrive. And as Kathy and Shiva mentioned, this is helping you on your path to becoming a DTM.
Let's talk about mentors. When you look at a team approach, I've heard it said that if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, you take a team with you, and you bring that team to help you do the work, do the heavy lifting. So as a mentor, you get to share expertise and knowledge with club officers and members. You make sure that the club is strong and functioning fully to their capacity. You confirm officers know that what their duties are and all the tools that they have available to them. And there are a lot of tools out there. Sometimes you want to cut those tools down so they don't get overwhelmed with the opportunities that they have. And you also support the club for the first year. You don't want to drop in and say, hey, you've been 2 meetings, you're good, go. Just like driving, it takes time.
And together, yes, we can. Yes, you can. So you'll enjoy the support of sponsors and mentors, and that's plural. So there's always more than one available for you. An entire demo team is going to show you how to run a smooth demo meeting. And moreover, district leaders will join your meeting. They'll bring enthusiasm, but you know what else they'll bring? They'll bring a new perspective, and it will absolutely uplift the club. So how do you do the steps for chartering a club? You know, chartering a club can be focused or it can be generic. Maybe it's an advanced club, such as Wine on Wednesday, where the members focus on evaluations to enhance advanced speakers' crafts, and they're relentless. A focus club could be for photography or gastronomic experiences. It just depends. But I think one of the most important things when you start to charter a club is this middle section, the demonstration meeting. It's so important for a crisp meeting. You have one chance to do it right. So assemble a demo team and secure a venue that has easy seating, easy access. Frame the meeting and use your leadership skills. Use your leadership skills to delegate by publicizing the meeting. Call on the local chamber, ask them to talk it up. Use posters, ask for assistance to post on social media. There are always people who do it a little better than you and have some time. Take advantage of them. Use your leadership skills in this. And finally, like anything else, there's always the paperwork. But you know what? You don't have to worry. It's easy. For each step is absolutely defined. There is a process. And as you can see by this URL, toastmasters.org/121, you can go ahead and see the forms. But you know what? You've met Kathy and you've met this team. And there is a district growth director and team who will direct you and guide you to fill out these forms. The forms will get done, and an entire support team is there to help you.
Quality club meetings. I had myself on mute for a second. Quality club meetings. That's an important part of ensuring our clubs and meetings are functioning well. Being a mentor is ensuring that you're providing help to the club so they are prepared to have good meetings where all the aspects are covered. It's starting from getting our agendas ready to ensuring people have the right Zoom link or the venues work well for the club, and communication, and even between the officers. So as a mentor and sponsor, that's a crucial part. You're helping them have successful meetings. You're helping them plan the meetings. You're providing them club meeting tools, such as free host and easy speak, or even an Excel document where they're able to track educational aspects as well as agenda for the next 4 weeks. What we recommend is ensuring that you're working with the club, that they're planning out their meetings and roles for the next 4 to 6 weeks, so people can put that in their calendar and have the information they need. And we want to create a member service perspective. So we're giving them the tools to ensure they're successful.
We want to build and maintain membership. What are the benefits of the promotional strategies? One, the club, to be healthy, needs to attract new members because we want to offset attrition of the non-renewing members. We know typically that we lose 40% time after time. We want to respond immediately to that potential guest. Ideally, you want your entire team of officers to respond the same day to the guest, and that you are responsive and encouraging in getting them the information they need. You also are going to use all different variety of methods to recruit the guests. And because one way may work for one type of person, but somebody else may use a totally different method. And we, as that magnet is want to attract as many of our potential guests as we possibly can.
Develop a culture of member retention. It's important for the longevity of the club and for the performance of the club. You keep people involved and moving forward in their Toastmasters journey. Everyone is responsible. It's very hard to point the finger at somebody else when you take ownership and that you help the club move forward. And build a fellowship of a healthy community and interaction. As you want to go to a healthy place, you make it a safe place at the same time. And that builds a fellowship that keeps the club happy and healthy.
You know, a strong, healthy club gives me a lot of energy. When I joined my first club, it was the 7 a.m. club. And believe me, I do not want to speak at that hour of the morning. But it was the one club that I visited that left me with joy and energy and inspiration for the day. So elements that make a strong club: the fun meeting with themes. Sometimes they wear a happy hat. Sometimes backgrounds can all be different. A culture of encouragement and speech fumble forgiveness. Run a contest. See how members stretch to impress their colleagues. Member surveys, add additional ideas and perspectives, and a strong leadership base that encourages growth, that awards people an accolade, whether it's a ribbon or just something verbally. All of these things mean you'll have a club that is healthy.